Today we're talking about how I learned about giving when I was a child, how I'm teaching my children to give, and how through the opportunity that the holidays presents, you can too. Good morning and welcome to the HopeFilled Financial Podcast. My name is Jay Disberger, your one and only HopeFilled Financial Coach, and I'm happy that you're here with us today. Before we get started today, I want to cover a couple housekeeping items and disclaimers. The first of which is I apologize for my voice in advance. I've been under the weather for 2 or 3 weeks. It's made recording very difficult. And being a little under the weather is going to make today's episode a little more abbreviated, but no less valuable. As there are only 3 things that we can do with money. We can save, spend, and give. And of these 3 things, I feel like giving is the easiest to neglect, especially when we're teaching our children about money. So that's what we're going to cover through my experience and what I'm trying to do for my children. We're not going to break up today into a story and a main topic. We're just going to dive right into it. And for anyone who noticed that this is episode 100, I would go, yay, this is the 100th episode, but it's actually not. As longtime listeners know, episode 40 is the lost episode. It does not exist. You won't be able to find it. With that, how did my parents teach me to be a generous giver while I was growing up? Well, since the holidays are coming up, I want to start there. My family celebrates Christmas. And growing up, I was always told that Christmas was more about giving than it was about getting. And I didn't quite get it until I hit a certain age where I wanted to try to give to my parents and to my siblings. And my parents encouraged this by taking me to a thrift store. I think they may have subsidized my giving a little bit. I think I only went in with $8 for everyone. And they let me go through and pick out gifts with thoughtful intentionality. On this show, we love to talk about frugality, the intentional practice of prudent economy. When it comes to giving, this is where intentionality really shines. Also, you've probably seen the Santa Clauses ringing bells outside grocery stores for the Salvation Army. I always wanted to throw coins in the bucket. There was a natural inclination to give when I was a child, and my parents would always have some loose change that they could give me and my siblings so that we could exercise giving. These are just a couple good, simple examples on how I was taught to give, and I'm extending the same spirit through the way I'm teaching my children how to give. Oliver just turned 3 yesterday as I'm recording this, not when this published. Is the day of recording, my son just turned 3. And boy, is he just a precious little guy. I love him to death, and he has such a good heart. One thing that I think really embodies how he loves to give is the way that we've been having him give money at church. We go to a church service, we go to a mass where they put the basket for the weekly collection at the front of the church, and all the children can go running up during the collection and throw money in the basket. Well, we did something funny with Oliver. He one day, before church, grabbed a hold of my wallet and was holding on to it. He was claiming my wallet as his own, and to get my wallet back, I said, if you give me my wallet back, because it's mine, we'll get you your own wallet, and you can have your own money in your own wallet. And without hesitation, without a fight, he gave me the wallet, and we got him one. We got him his own little wallet. It's a little $3 wallet that looks a lot like mine. It's a thin fabric wallet. And so before the collection, what we do is we put a little $5 bill in his wallet, and he goes running up there in his little jeans, in his little glasses, and he's got his wallet, which is almost as big as his face, and he opens it up, and he pulls out the $5 bill and drops it in the basket. He has to remove it from something that is exclusively his in order to give to the basket, to give the money away. I think that's really cool, and almost every time he comes running across the front of the church and just tackles me with a bear hug after he's gotten to give. He experiences the joy of giving, and it's beautiful. Now for something that my parents talked about with me that I plan to exercise with my children when they get old enough to have, well, the talk about Santa Claus. And if you listen with little kiddos around who are really looking forward to Santa Claus visiting, I recommend that you take a break and listen to the upcoming part without them. There, that's my disclaimer. I hope I've given enough time. When children are old enough to realize the secret that you are Santa, and they start asking the questions, figuring it out, they're processing a lot. And the way I'd like to explain the spirit of giving, the spirit of Santa Claus to my children is like this. I'm going to explain to them the actual historical story behind St. Nicholas and how beautiful that charitable generosity is, that spirit of charitable generosity, and how that is the essence of what Santa is, and how parents all get to be Santa. We all get to embody that spirit of charitable generosity when we wrap up presents and sneak down to pack the gifts under the tree on Christmas Eve. And how once you figure this out, once you figure out the secret of Santa, well, you are given the gift to start extending that spirit of beautiful charitable generosity to someone you know. And how giving isn't about getting the credit for the giving. You can do it in secret. That's one of the nice things about Santa Claus, the secret of Santa. You get to give with a veil where you don't necessarily get the credit for the giving. You just get to experience the beauty of giving itself, for giving's sake. I heard one story, the one that inspired me, the one that my parents talked about with me, where a father explains this to their child. And they go and say, pick anyone you want. We'll give them something and we'll say it's from Santa. We're not going to take the credit for it, but you get to give them something. You may not actually witness their reaction when they receive the thoughtful, intentional gift that you've picked, but that's part of the fun of being Santa sometimes. And I think it's something fun that I want to pass along to my children. I'm going to do the whole Santa Claus thing, regardless of where you stand on it with them, so that I can have this experience and this conversation with them thereafter, so that they can be endowed with this beautiful sense of charitable generosity. I hope this gives you some food for thought as we move into the holiday season, as we approach Christmas. I've got a few episodes planned that are going to be pretty relevant to the season coming up here. And we're winding down our second whole year for the HopeFilled Financial Podcast. And unfortunately, this is just going to be one more housekeeping item for those of you who've listened to the end. I don't know if we're going to be able to continue going weekly to start 2025. I haven't figured out all the programming that I want to do for 2025. I haven't figured out a theme. The first year, we had a theme for the podcast where I hit a lot of principled topics that were interesting to me to cover the full breadth of personal finance from a foundational, kind of scattered perspective. And I grouped the topics of interest and organized them in a sequence that made sense to me. And for all of 2024, we've been going through the Hope-Filled Financial Footsteps. This episode somewhat falls under 401 Kid, where you're teaching your children how to be generous and how to be good with money. But it doesn't necessarily have to fall within the Hope-Filled Financial Footsteps. It can easily be something that you can lean into with little restriction once you get to footstep number 8, living and giving your dream, where you've achieved your financial goals, your financial independence, and you're free to exercise generosity to its fullness. But back to the podcast, we're probably going to go on a little hiatus for a couple months while we work on planning out what the future seasons of the show are going to be like, and we work really hard to make more concise and more valuable episodes for you. If you listen to the end of this episode, I would like to know in the comments below, what would you like to see us cover in 2025? And with that, until next week, until next Tuesday, budget bravely and enjoy your hope-filled financial future.